Hello, welcome to Living and Learning. I'm Allison Kinnear. I'm so excited to be here today. We are talking about intentions and continuing the conversation around intentions. It's January. A lot of people set new goals for themselves. It's not only the beginning of a new year, but it's also the beginning of a new decade. And so that can put us in that reflective space where we're kind of looking back, but also looking forward. Today, we are going to talk about daring to dream. And hello, Anne. Yes, good to see you. Today, we are talking about daring to dream because one of the things that I notice quite often from my clients is that when we start talking about dreams, when we start talking about visioning, when we start talking about those intentions that we want to put forth into the world, what happens almost immediately, not just to my clients, but for almost all of us, is that our inner critic kind of roars up and says, whoa, 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 wait a second. Who do you think you are? Like, this is not possible. How are you ever going to get there? This doesn't seem realistic. Who do you think you are to be to have these ambitions? We can get flooded with those messages. And what happens then is that our vision, our dreams, our intentions can get narrowed and limited really quickly, particularly if we give that voice, that limiting voice, any control over the situation. And so it's really important that we are able to kind of hear that voice, to hear that inner critic show up and say, well, who do you think you are? And we can acknowledge it and say, thank you, because it's trying to keep us safe. And when we dream big, suddenly that part of us that likes to feel safe feels a bit threatened. And so we can we can acknowledge it and say, thank you, but then also set it aside and stay focused on the big vision, because it's really easy not to give it much time, not much credence. One of the activities I'd love to do with my clients is to just gather up all those big dreams that maybe we think about in passing. We think about it as we're driving to the store, as we're going to work, as we're taking a shower. They kind of pop in these random moments, and then we immediately swat them away. And one of the things that can be really freeing, and in the workbook that I designed, I encourage you to do this, is to vision, is to actually allow all of those big dreams to come forth. Consider it a brainstorming session. Consider it a time to play and experiment and see where your imagination will take you. Now, hopefully, your imagination will also be in alignment with your competencies. Perhaps your imagination will stretch you a little further out, but that it will still be in alignment with things that you enjoy doing, things that you're good at. I remember over 10 years ago, someone asked me, what would your ideal job be? Like, if you were to think about what would be your ideal job, your ideal position, what would it be? And I said at the time, to be in some kind of therapist role where I'm supporting people, both individually and as groups, and perhaps doing some training. That was my vague idea of what that could be. And what immediately flooded in my mind was, what, you're going to get another master's, you're going to accrue all those hours, you're going to, how are you going to pay for this? How are you going to do that? Does that job even exist? Like, all of that flooded in. But that vision stayed alive. And now what am I doing? That's exactly what I'm doing. I have clients one-on-one. I'm about to start an online group program, my Confident Leadership course. Tomorrow I'm going to Microsoft and I'm speaking at Microsoft and doing a follow-up there to creating a culture of trust with one of the groups there. It's like, I couldn't have known at the time that I would have been a vendor at Microsoft, right? Like, that I would have spoken there not just once, but so often that I'm actually in their vendor program. Like, what happens is that if I didn't allow that vision to stay alive, then I would be immediately flooded with, who the heck am I to be able to do this work? And I would have taken myself out of the running. This is what happens when we don't vision. when we don't hold a vision for ourselves, when we don't allow ourselves to dream big. It's like when those opportunities come, we let them pass because we can't imagine ourselves in that role. So that envisioning process, allowing ourselves to dream big, even if it seems crazy to dream big like that, then suddenly affords us a bigger vision of who we are, who we can become. I wanted to share with you, I had a client from a while back, and we did this dreaming, visioning exercise. And one of the things she dreamed about was creating a business around sewing and children, and like maybe creating costumes or doing something with children and teaching them the art of sewing, because it's such a lost skill in our culture today. And now she has an incredible business called Frog Dog Studio, I believe, or Frog Dog Costumes, where that's exactly what she does. Not only does she make amazing Halloween costumes and costumes for other people, but she has all these courses to help children create. It's so amazing. She actually has children draw out what they want to create, like a stuffed animal, and then they create that very thing in fabric. And she does it not just with stuffed animals, but with clothing and amazing, amazing things. She just recently put up her website, and within within a day, all of her classes were booked. This started out as something that seemed like an unattainable, crazy idea that she would just love to do, but how in the world would she ever do it? To here we are like a year later, and she's actually doing it. So this is what happens. This is what happens when we allow ourselves the ability to dream. Now, her imagination took her to a place that seemed so far out of reach. However, what is amazing about that is she also still had the skills around it. She knew how to sew. She loved sewing. She loved teaching. She loved children. So she had the ability and the imagination. She just needed to put those two things together to make it happen. This is the beauty of daring to dream. And so I encourage you not to just readily dismiss your ideas, but to actually take some time to nurture them, to write them down, to continue to vision, to continue to dream. I have a resource for that. I will share it in the comments so that you can have access to it. You don't really need a tool. You just need to allow yourself to collect what are all those big visions that you have. Write them down, keep them alive, keep that fire stoked, because you have no idea what is around the corner. You have no idea what possibilities can await you on the other side of that dream. And if we don't allow ourselves to dream, then we're cutting off those possibilities, and we're allowing ourselves to stay stuck at where we are. So that is what I offer you today. Thank you, Anne, for being here. Thank you, William. Hi, William. You just popped on. And thank you to everyone else who watches this on the replay. I am so excited that you are here. I will tell you more about my Confident Leadership course as it gets developed. And I will also be sharing with you probably tomorrow some fun pictures of me at Microsoft again, which I'm so excited about. And hello, Denise. Hello and goodbye. I'm going to be logging off. But what I want to just encourage you to do this week is dream. Write it down. I'll share with you my workbook link so that you can have that. That's a free workbook. But I encourage you to write down your dreams, write down your visions. And if you want to share them in the comments, please do so. I wish you a wonderful week of living and learning, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.